Hello and welcome to Mercy TV, your source for news and information on the medical cannabis issue as it unfolds here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. Greetings, I'm Perry NORML, and along with my co-conspirator and compassionate common sense, Sonny, we'll be hosting this segment of Mercy TV. And we're real excited because with us back once again is attorney Leland Berger, and we could talk some more about not just Senate Bill 281, but some of the other things that are happening in this legislative session. Lee, welcome on the show there.
Thanks, Perry. Well, I'm really excited because this week there are four bills that are positive cannabis reform legislation. Just 281 relates specifically to medical cannabis, but the other three are really important as well. And I'd like to tell your viewers about which bills they are and when the hearings are and just what's all involved.
Right.
If that's okay.
We have some hearings coming up next week, so stay tuned here, folks.
So Senate Bill 40 is going to be heard at 8:30 in the morning in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee in hearing room 343. That's on the third floor of the Capitol. And Senate Bill 40 fixes the designation of manufacture and possession of marijuana to conform with the rescheduling of marijuana as Schedule II controlled substance. The currently manufacturing is an A felony, and this bill would make it a B felony, and currently possession is a B felony, and this bill would make it a C felony. And there are proposed amendments to resolve another problem with the way the marijuana law is set up in Oregon. You know, less than an ounce is a violation, but more than an ounce is a felony. And marijuana is marijuana for more than an ounce, but for less than an ounce it excludes hashish and hash oil and other, resins and whatnot. So there's been talk, and there may be an opportunity to create a misdemeanor marijuana bill this year, as well, or a misdemeanor marijuana statute this year, as well as a misdemeanor marijuana hashish statute this year.
Okay.
So I'm really hopeful for that, because now any amount of hashish, unless you're a patient, is a felony, and the opportunity to create that is really something. Senate Bill 40 is a bill that's been proposed by the Oregon Criminal Defense Lawyers Association. It's their drug policy reform bill this year, and the efforts to add a misdemeanor statute are brought through Compassionate Oregon, which is a group that Anthony Taylor is lobbying on behalf of. And then a really exciting development is that that same afternoon, Tuesday at 1 o'clock, also in hearing room 343, House Bill 3371 is going to be heard. This is a legalization bill, and of course, nothing would help patients better than re-legalizing marijuana. Now, this isn't it's a public hearing, but this isn't, it's kind of like on 281, which I'm going to talk about next, that was in Health and Human Services, with a referral to Judiciary. This is in House Judiciary with a subsequent referral to Revenue. And what the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Jeff Barker, has decided is that there's only going to be invited testimony, 3 speakers for each side.
Okay.
And particularly for this hearing, but for other hearings as well, word has gotten back to us, those of us who are actively involved in lobbying measures, that legislators don't appreciate when people show up smelling like marijuana.
Oh,
so either come not smelling like marijuana or stay home, and you can watch the hearings. I mean, they're video reported live.
Yeah, it will be live cast, so folks can visit mercycenters.org, follow the links on our pages concerning legislation, and we'll point you right to there.
Well, I'm so glad that you do that you're, and then they archive the audio portion, so if you're not available to watch it when it's being broadcast, you can just listen to the audio later. Meanwhile, the very next day, Wednesday, also at 8:30, also in front of the Senate Judiciary, is Senate Bill 281, and we're very excited because we know this has the votes to get to the floor. And Anthony Taylor, who's been, along with Todd Delato, who are the main lobbyists on this issue, are confident that we're going to have broad bipartisan support on the Senate floor. So it's just, I mean, you were at, I know both you guys, weren't you? We're at the Senate Health and Human Services Committee hearing. And, you know, it was so powerful to have such a positive hearing and such a positive reception from the senators to the information that we were providing. And you really get the sense that they get that it's a no-brainer to add PTSD to the list of qualifying
Absolutely.
conditions.
You know, we've used it as a banner about cannabis as medicine, that only a pure prohibitionist could possibly oppose this one, you know, this bill.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, and then there is, this part's a little complicated and it's a little technical, but it's kind of exciting, so bear with me, if you would, please. At 5:30 on Wednesday, the Joint Committee on Public Safety is going to hear House Bill 3194. Now, Governor Kitzhaber had appointed a commission on public safety, and one of their recommendations that they already heard only invited testimony about was House Bill 3194, which would, among other things, change the definition of substantial quantities for purposes of the felony sentencing guidelines. Now, I brought with me a grid, the Oregon Sentencing Guidelines grid, and the way it works is that the crime seriousness are the rows across, from simple possession as a level 1 offense to murder as a level 12 offense, level 11 offense. And the criminal history goes from no prior criminal history, the I column, all the way over to 4 or more person felonies. So as you get more serious crime and you get more serious record, you get, in the yellow here, these are presumptive prison sentences. And this line is called the dispositional line. Below the dispositional line, where less serious crime, less serious criminal record, it's presumptive probation cases. Currently, simple possession is a level 1 offense. Simple manufacturing or delivery is a level 4 offense. If it involves a substantial quantity, possession goes from level 1 to level 6. Currently, substantial quantity is 150 grams, which is about 5 ounces.
Okay, yeah.
A little more than 5 ounces. And manufacture and delivery go from a level 4 offense to a level 8 offense, which is a presumptive prison sentence, even if you have no prior record. Presumptive 16 to 18 months. So there's 2 other ways that drug offenses generally, including cannabis, are aggravated. One is if it happens within 1,000 feet of a school, and the other is if it's a commercial drug offense. And for it to be a commercial drug offense, the state has to plead and prove 3 of 10 listed factors, and weight is included in listed factors, and the weight for cannabis under current law is 110 grams. Well,
and in the methods that they use, taking the whole plant while it's wet and things like that.
No,
you know, substantial.
It doesn't have to do with the whole plant while it's wet.
Okay, good.
It has to do with a mixture or substance containing a detectable amount.
Okay.
But the point is that it's currently at 150 grams. It currently elevates it to a level 6 if it's a possession, and a level 8 if it's a manufacturing or delivery. And they want to raise it to a kilo. And if it were a kilo, it would be a level 4 offense. So if you possess or manufacture or deliver less than a kilo of marijuana and you have no prior record, it would be a presumptive 2-year probation as a sentence.
Okay, that sounds a lot fairer.
And they want crime category 5 if it was more than a kilo and less than 5 kilograms. Crime category 6 would be delivery to a minor. Now, currently, delivery to a minor, I didn't discuss that before, but that's the other presumptive prison sentence, irrespective of what your prior record is. And level 6 brings it down to a 3-year probation. But then it gets a little troublesome. It would continue to be a presumptive prison sentence, a crime category 8, if it involved the possession, delivery, or manufacture of 5 kilograms or more, but less than 20 kilograms. Crime category 9, more than 20 kilograms, less than 50 kilograms. And crime category 10, more than 50 kilograms. Now, admittedly, these are significant amounts, don't get me wrong, but these are level 10 that they're talking about for more than 50 kilograms, I think includes manslaughter, if I remember right. Yeah, manslaughter in the first degree. So they're saying that you should get as serious a sentence if you possess, distribute, or cultivate more than 50 kilograms of marijuana. They're saying that you should get the same sentence as you would if you were convicted of manslaughter in the second degree if you have between 20 and 50 kilograms. They're saying that you should have, if you have between 5 and 20 kilograms, then you should go to prison just like somebody who's involved in a criminally negligent homicide. It's wrong. No presumptive prison for pot.
Right. Okay.
That's what we should be saying Wednesday at 5:30. And unlike the other 3 hearings that are in hearing room 343, this one is in hearing room C, which is on the main floor of the Capitol, towards the back. So it's really exciting that these 4 bills are having hearings now. There are several bills that there's one bill that has been filed, and certainly others that have gone through Legislative Council to create a regulated supply system.
Okay.
The one that seems to have the most likelihood of getting a hearing and perhaps of passing is House Bill 3460. House Bill 3460 would add an additional cardholder, and the additional cardholder would be called a medical marijuana facility. And the medical marijuana facility would work like this. A patient would have I'm sorry, Pete, I can't hear myself think, man. A patient, when they apply to the medical marijuana program, on the application would be able to check a box that says, I authorize the person responsible for my grow site to deliver my excess, because the patient owns all the medicine, to a medical marijuana facility. And it authorizes the medical marijuana facility to fully reimburse the grower, not just for costs of supplies and utilities and no other costs, including labor, but full reimbursement, and would allow the medical marijuana facility to distribute medicine to patients and caregivers also for full reimbursement. And you know, the fact is, in places like Multnomah County, and I know there are similar facilities here in Marion County, it kind of codifies the existing practice that where growers are able to take care of their patients, and the patients are good with the growers making sure that the excess is distributed to other patients.
Right, yeah.
Either at facilities or otherwise. And it seems like it has also broad support. I know that Representative Frederick and Senator Przanski, and I know there are 2 other co-sponsors that I'm forgetting who they are. I'm sorry I didn't bring a copy of it. That's not yet currently scheduled for a hearing, and it needs to be by April 8th. April 8th, there has to be some action taken on a bill for it to have any chance at all of going forward. That's the cutoff that that is the rule in both the Senate and the House.
We have a phone call now.
Okay. Hey, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was calling about, did you know anything about the legalization of marijuana in Oregon?
Yes, in fact, we're just here with Leland Berger talking about the bill that's related to that.
Cool.
The bill is going to be heard on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. It's House Bill 3371. It's going to be heard by the House Judiciary Committee. It's going to be invited testimony only. It has a subsequent referral to Revenue. We think there are enough votes for it to be referred to the Revenue Committee. Additionally, there are at least 2, and maybe only 2, initiative efforts that are underway. People are working on an initiative similar to 3371 for the 2014 ballot, and what's it called? The Marijuana Policy Project is promoting some kind of an initiative in 2016, and has begun. They launched a campaign. Did you see the billboard story? In Portland, we have a wine and beer festival, and they put up a billboard that said, the Marijuana Policy Project funded a billboard that says, has a picture of a glass of beer and a picture of a glass of wine and a picture of a marijuana leaf, and it says, you know, I can't remember what it says over the beer and wine, but over the cannabis leaf it says safer, to try and educate people that cannabis is safer than alcohol, because it is. And,
Right.
And also because they had success with that campaign in Colorado. So Perry and I were talking before the broadcast tonight, and my view is, in terms of the viability of 3371, you know, activists nationally are waiting on Attorney General Holder, who continues to promise that he will soon announce what the administration's position is regarding the reforms in Colorado and Washington. We know that the governors of Colorado and Washington have met with the Attorney General. We know that recently Governor Inslee in Washington wrote a letter to Attorney General Holder explaining why he wants him to let Washington develop its law. We know that Congressman Earl Blumenauer from the 3rd District, East Portland, and up to the mountain, has, along with has started a marijuana caucus in Congress, and is either the co-sponsor or instigator of several really good bills. Now, currently, anybody who's watching Congress knows that it's pretty dysfunctional. There's not a lot of movement.
Right.
So it's unlikely that anything's going to get out this session. But you know, nationally, the people that are looking at this, because, you know, there's not just in Oregon where there's talk about, or where legislation has been introduced, or where there's talk about doing an initiative. You know, there are strategies that include initiatives in 18 states by 2016 or and then full legalization by 2018, or as some like to suggest that it will come in 20.
At the very least, because
in April 20, right?
Well,
so it'll be 420.
So not for 2020, that'd work. The because not only the MPP, the Marijuana Policy Project, NORML, Drug Policy Alliance, other groups not as substantial, but still at their, you know, getting their grassroots activism certainly is stepped up, I think.
Well, the exciting thing that's going on in Oregon, you know, last election cycle, there were 3, maybe 4, at one time even 5 initiatives that were circulating. And it just seems like that's unlikely in 2014. It really seems like there's much more unity, and there's much more consensus around a single approach. I mean, I think what's likely to happen is that several initiatives will be filed and get ballot titles, and there'll be, you know, polling to determine what has the most viability if we don't pass 3371. But it's just a very exciting time. I mean, I know Perry and Sonny, you guys have.
It's a very exciting time, isn't it?
It is, caller. I think that you know, especially for people who've been involved in doing this work for a long time. I mean, it's a whole different feeling at the legislature when, during the last election, 47% of the people who voted for an initiative that would have allowed unlimited personal possession and cultivation, and unlimited personal possession, cultivation, and distribution of industrial hemp. 47%. Now, I know that means 53% voted against it, but the fact that 47% voted for it makes that much more reasonable approaches like 3371. 3371 would license growers and distributors. It would impose a tax at the production end.
Right.
It would be a $35 an ounce tax to producers, and so it would raise a boatload of money. And medical marijuana facility, or excuse me, not medical marijuana facilities, the distributors would be regulated by the Liquor Control Commission, kind of like under the Washington model.
Okay.
Right.
And there would be a fee to do that. And you know, I don't have the numbers. I wasn't thinking we were going to get this far into it, but I did write a letter to the editor that was published in the Oregonian about, you know, at a time when the payments from the federal government for the counties that have significant federal timberland are ending, and you know, in places like Josephine County, their police forces are really depleted. In Lane County, they're not prosecuting certain crimes, and the jails had to release a lot of people, and the public defenders laid off lawyers, and you know, those are the places in Southern Oregon where those are the cannabis producing locations in terms of outdoor gardens, and there's every reason to think that, and the 3371 and the initiative would send the revenues from the tax anyway to the cities and counties.
Right.
So
all these places
really,
that are laying off these fire and police and all the emergency are.
I've been saying for a while, I've been asking for a while, you know, how bad do things have to get before the economic argument becomes compelling? And Alice Ivany, a medical patient and activist from Eddyville, sent me an article that says basically the time is now. And you know, boy, it sure feels like it, and it sure seems like it, and so much of it, as we discussed earlier, Perry, hinges on what the Attorney General Holder is going to say. But it just really it seems and feels like there's forward movement on that, just like there was this week, you know, on the whole issue of marriage equality with the oral arguments in the Supreme Court. I don't know whether you followed that or not, but you know, that's another significant civil rights issue about whether people who are involved in same-sex relationships can be denied federal benefits, whether they can be not denied the right to marry, and even from these, you know, old, really old, some really old, some old like me. You know, the Chief Justice and Alito are both about my age, but you know, guys like Thomas and Scalia, and you know, these are Kennedy. These are guys in their 70s, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg is an older.
That's why she's still hanging out there, isn't it?
Yeah, and they and it you know, to listen to a guy like Antonin Scalia complain about, geez, I really miss the days when things were normal. It's like things are getting normal, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly,
and it's not just for gay rights, but it's also for cannabis legalization.
Right.
And it's just a very exciting time. It's a very exciting time to be in Oregon. It's a very exciting time to be at the legislature. I do want to share, not just with you, caller, but with the rest of the viewers, that if you go to these hearings, please dress appropriately. You know, I hang out with these guys. We don't dress like this unless we're going to do the show or I have to go to court or whatever.
Right.
But if you're gonna come to the legislature, please try not to smell like marijuana. It's come back to us from legislators that they're offended by that. I know it's wrong that they're offended by that, but that's how it is, and they're the people who get to vote for us or against us.
Well, it's all about respect. I mean, if we want respect for our rights, we need to respect their, where they're at in their situation. So.
Absolutely, I agree, caller.
As a patient, I would like to tell you guys thank you and for all your hard work. And it is like watching a child grow after all the years and the hard work and the ups and downs and hurricanes and all the effort, time put in that we do. So I just want to tell you thank you.
All right. Hey, well, thank you for hanging in there, caller. And be sure to contact your representative on the bills here in Oregon and the federal level, too.
And you make that access easy through your website, don't you?
Absolutely. Visit mercycenters.org, go to the web page on the state bill, and then it will also point you to the federal action items then, too.
All righty.
I really appreciate both of you.
Yep, you guys have a good night.
Right, you too.
Thanks.
Right.
I really appreciate both of you guys and all the good work that the Mercy Centers do. And I know you make yourself available by phone when people have questions, not just during the TV show, but at your office.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just terrific good work that you're doing. Thank you.
We let folks know that we're open noon to 6 Monday through Friday, so folks can come down and get their voter registration, get some more information on this. We have some printed material on contacting your representative, all the tips and tricks like Lee was talking about. If you want to submit written testimony, which you can for this hearing that's coming up, how to do so, the best ways to do so, and things like that.
I wanted to clarify again on 3171 because it's getting a referral to the Revenue Committee. It's anticipated that at the Revenue Committee it would be allowed, there'd be a public hearing where testimony would be allowed.
And there we'll get some more on numbers on it. Lee was, before we were talking about it, the economic side of it, and even the most conservative numbers talk from way back when would say that there's like a $2 billion turnaround from legalization just in Oregon, that the benefit from businesses and other things, in addition to the waste that we don't have, then would total that
well,
much.
there was a bill similar to 3194 that was heard in the House Judiciary Committee, and it was explained that the increase in the substantial quantity for marijuana for the felony sentencing guidelines was a cost-saving measure, and I said in my testimony, why just save costs? Why not make it an income stream for the government?
Okay, sure.
You know, that's really the message, and that kind of speaks to what you're talking about, Perry. I mean, it's expensive to enforce marijuana laws. So not only is there revenue derived from legalization, but the expense to enforce the law goes away. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, yeah. And for the medical community, we were talking before about that and what that meant to them. And not only will the folks who use it have access to it, but to be able to contribute to that.
Well, I wanted to clarify as well
research, all that.
Both 3171 and the initiative that's drafted for 2014 would not interfere with the Medical Marijuana Act.
Great.
So that patients would be protected even if the federal government tried to enjoin the enactment of a legalization bill or initiative. They'd still enjoy the protections of the Medical Marijuana Act. Patients are not going to be harmed by the efforts to legalize in Oregon.
Right, they're not going to.
Absolutely not.
Well, the main thing is.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
15 seconds left.
Righto. Well, we'll have to wrap it up and tell folks to catch us next Friday on Mercy TV. Thanks, Lee, for coming down.
You betcha.
We'll see you guys next Friday, 7 o'clock. Bye now.
You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.